Hello Steelers Nation, this is Steelers Guru here, and I wanted to just comment on our salary cap situation and Leveon Bell specifically, as far as should we retain him and bring him back next year. First, let me just talk about the Steelers salary cap situation overall. Right now we're almost $4 million over the salary cap, so there's going to have to be some decisions and some cuts that's going to have to be made in order for us to save salary cap space and potentially use it on the defensive side of the ball, as far as bringing in some players that can help us. We all know the defensive struggles we had this year, especially since Ryan Shazier got hurt. And it just all came ahead in the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where we made Blake Bortles look like Joe Montana. Now, let me get to Leveon Bell. I personally think it's time to move on from our franchise all-pro running back. Why? I just don't think it's beneficial for us to bring him back at the price that it's going to probably take to bring him back. We're looking at, if we do make an offer, he's going to want to come back at somewhere between $15 to $17 million a year. I just don't think that's a good business plan for us, the Steelers, at this point in time. Now, when I look at all the teams that were in the playoffs this year, I don't see a running back on any of those teams making that kind of money. So that tells me that you don't need a running back like that to go to and win the Super Bowl. The highest paid running back in the playoffs this year was LaShawn McCoy, and that's pretty much it. You know, a lot of teams use that running back committee these days, which is specialists doing different things. You might have a grinded out between the tackles running back, a running back used to catch passes, a running back used as a pass blocker, different specialties. Now, I'm not saying go that route at all, but I'm just saying don't bring Leveon Bell back at what it's going to probably, the price is going to probably take to bring him back. Now, being that I did take a couple courses on football general manager and scouting. This is what I would do. I wouldn't bring Leveon Bell back, like I said. I would cut Mike Mitchell. Cutting those two players, I feel like it's a step in the right direction as far as a culture change. You know, Leveon Bell showed up late to the walkthrough of the biggest game of the season against Jacksonville. Showed up late. As a leader on the team, one of the best players, that's a no-no. You cannot do that. You have to be the one that set the example so the young players can follow you. Okay, you want to make the money, you want to be the highest paid running back, then you have to be on your P's and Q's out what you need to do to be a successful player. And skipping a walkthrough or showing up with 5 minutes to go, it's not doing that. Okay, and Mike Mitchell, I would cut him. That'll save us $8 million in salary cap space. And that'll be a step as far as a culture change and what we need as well. Running his mouth on social media talking about, oh, when we play the Patriots again, we're going to win. You know, I believe in taking a humble approach. Move silently like a ninja, swoop down for the kill without them even expecting it. Okay, don't put yourself on blast, especially when you've gotten your butt whooped by the same team for nearly 10 years now. And plus, he don't make any plays, no game-changing plays at that. So I would cut Mike Mitchell, save that $8 million in salary cap space. Don't bring Leveon Bell back at what would be at least $15 million. Okay, that's $23 million right there. And as far as Bud Dupree, we have the option to bring his fifth-year option would be at $9 million next year. Okay, that's for someone who gave us 6 sacks and was a liability in the running game, as we all seen when we played Jacksonville. So if they don't exercise that option, That's another $9 million. That's about $31 million in salary cap space, okay, that we can use on the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, what I would do, I would cut. The only person I would think about bringing back is Bud Dupree, because maybe, just maybe, he still has untapped potential, since he will be going into his 5th year. Maybe there's some untapped potential there. So, but some players, I want to talk about some players that we can potentially go after as far as free agents, if we were to cut bait with those players. A person we can take a look at is Star Lotulelei, the nose tackle who played for Carolina Panthers last year. At about 6'2", 320 pounds, former first-round pick. We could use him. Our run defense suffered, especially against Jacksonville. And he can come in and start right away. We do have Javon Hargrave, but he's not cutting it at that nose tackle position. Javon Hargrave is 6 foot, about 290, 295 pounds. He's not stout enough to hold the point of attack, hold his ground against constant double teams from the guard and the center. If you look back in our history, when our defense was one of the best in the league, we had Casey Hampton holding down the fort in the middle. Casey Hampton was 6 foot, 330 pounds, and you couldn't move him. And when you couldn't move him, what that does is allow our inside linebackers playing in the back of him to run around and make plays, whether behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. So we really need a nose tackle that can come in and solidify the middle of our defense. Like I said, Star Lotulelei is out there, as well as Dontari Poe, previously played for the Atlanta Falcons. I think both those two guys can come in and give us what we need at the nose tackle position. Now, if we decline to address that area in free agency, there is one in the draft in Vita Vea out of Washington, who's 6'5", about 340 to 350 pounds, massive guy that cannot be moved. If he would somehow drop to the 28th pick, I think it's worth us taking a look at him. Now, other players that we can look at bringing in, as far as the inside linebacker position, is Nigel Bradham, previously of Philadelphia. He's 28 years old. Okay, speedy guy. And also, as far as if we need a one-year Band-Aid, Paul Plesney, who played his high school football in Pittsburgh. He's 33 years old, but we would just bring him in, hopefully, as far as a Band-Aid, a little one-year thing, and see what he gives us for that year. Another inside linebacker we could take a look at is Navarro Bowman, previously played for San Francisco, who does have an injury history, but he's 29 years old, and he would be worth taking a look at. Now, as far as our outside linebacker position, upgrading that, we can take a look at defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence, who previously played for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he was suspended for violating the league's drug policy, but he had over 10 sacks last year. I think he's worth taking a look at. Young guy who can make the transition to outside linebacker from defensive end. Another outside linebacker we can look at as well is Jeremiah Atachu, previously played for San Diego. Okay, now if we were to address those positions in free agency, I wouldn't look at signing a running back in free agency. I would look to the draft, where this draft class running back position is very deep, and we can find one that can come in and be special for us, sharing duties with James Conner. Some running backs we can take a look at in the draft is, now we all know we're not going to get Saquon Barkley. That's a wrap on him. But other running backs we can take a look at is Darius Geis out of LSU, Sony Michel from Georgia, Nick Chubb from Georgia, they wouldn't have as much wear and tear on Leveon Bell. And if we were fortunate enough to get one of those guys, I feel like they would make an awesome tandem with James Conner. Okay, looking back in the years that we did win the Super Bowl, we didn't have a franchise running back. So that just goes to my point that we really don't need to bring Leveon Bell back at the price that he's going to be asking. I know he's 25 years old, but I feel like we can address that position in the draft with running backs with less wear and tear. Now, this is the Steelers guru commenting on the Steelers free agency situation. I'm looking forward to 2018 and beyond, Steelers Nation.